So let me first start by introducing Mr. Abhijit Roy. So Abhijit Roy is a co-founder of GoldenPi Technologies, which is India's first and the largest retail bond platform, offering bond debentures, sovereign gold bonds, etc. So one of the largest retailers with more than 1 lakh users and almost 20 to 25,000 active users. So by far even acknowledged by SEBI to be having a far-reaching hold on the retail market because of so they are also part of the OBP association wherein they give their views to how to go about developing the retail market.
Okay.
Okay, so Vijit, now I'm handing it over to you to start the session. You can start with the introductions and all.
Sure, Pranav. Thank you so much. Thank you for the kind introduction. I'll start off, with welcoming all our viewers on this session today. Right. This is a very special session from the GoldenPi's Industry Speak series. Power or electricity, as we all know, right, lights up each of our lives on a daily basis. And at the national scale, it is one of the key ingredients that is pushing forward a nation from being a developing to a developed nation. Now, power or electricity projects, right, are massive in size, and they need millions of billions of rupees of funding, right, to be executed properly. Power Finance Corporation is the key organization that funds these projects across the country and is driving these projects to light up the whole country. Power Finance Corporation has also ventured recently into the infrastructure lending space. It's a Maharatna company and the largest NBFC so far, right, in the country under the governance of the central government. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor and privilege to invite the top management of Power Finance Corporation today to our discussion. Srimati Parminder Chopra, Director of Finance with additional charge of Chairman and Managing Director of PFC. She has been associated with PFC for over 18 years. Srimati Parminder holds a bachelor's degree in commerce and is a certified cost accountant and also has an MBA degree for her educational qualification. She carries a very rich and vast experience of over 35 years in the power sector itself, wherein she has worked across national hydroelectric power projects and Power Grid Corporation in her previous roles. Along with Srimati Parminder, Madam, we have Mr. Sandeep Kumar, Executive Director of Finance, and Mr. Sanjay Mehrotra, Executive Director of Finance with us. We also have Mr. Pranav Inamdar, who is the Director of Trust Group. Trust Group is a lead manager to the public issuance of non-convertible debentures to be launched by PFC on this 21st of July, which is the coming Friday. I welcome all of you to a very candid discussion and an enriching discussion that we will have for our viewers today.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, Vijay.
So today, all of us are looking forward to hearing from you about what PFC does, right? How it is, shaping up the country, what are the future goals, and also we'll learn about, in specific, about the public issuance of debentures, which will be done. The issuance will open from 21st July, next Friday, this coming Friday. So first question to you, Parminder Madam, we would like to hear from you the background about PFC, the current, the organization structure that PFC has, and the role that it is playing in the country as a central public sector enterprise.
So, telling about the PFC, to take care of the increasing requirement of funding for the power sector when India was developing the country. So at that point of time, a need was felt to have a specialized institution for funding of the power sector, which can understand the pros and cons of the power sector, especially when it is in the concurrent list, where center plays a bigger role in the policy making and the states are there for the implementation. So as a central PSU, PFC was thought to be the pioneer funding agency for the power sector. PFC was formed on 16th July 1986. In 1998, we have registered ourselves as a NBFC with Reserve Bank of India. Looking at the importance of PFC at that point of time, we have also been given the mini Ratna status. In 2007, I think everybody knows that PFC has launched its IPO and it was oversubscribed 84 times at that point of time. And at that point of time only, we have also been upgraded from mini Ratna to Navratna status. In 2019, again, that was a milestone in the PFC's history, where PFC has acquired 52.6% Government of India holding in REC, and we have come into the relationship of the holding and the subsidiary companies, becoming one of the largest group in the power sector. In meantime, 2017, looking at the recognition of PFC and the role being played by the PFC, we have also been allowed to raise 54 EC bonds by Government of India, which is the capital gain bonds under the income tax side. In 2020, again, looking at the size, the profit making, and the crucial role being played in the power sector scenario, we have been upgraded from Navratna status and we have been granted the highest status in any of the public sector undertakings as the Maharatna status. If I talk of the financial position of the company, as on 31st of March 2023, PFC has funded as an outstanding loan book of 4.22 lakh crore. We have the highest ever net profit of 11,600 crores. We have one of the sound financial, you can say the ratios, our capital adequacy is at a very comfortable position under this, it's more than 24% and the lowest NPA at 1.07%. So these shows the financial robustness of the company. PFC has been funding to the power sector, and in 2022, we have also been allowed to fund for the infrastructure sector, but with a primary focus on the power sector, and accordingly, our approvals were for funding up to 30% of the outstanding for the infrastructure sector. As on date, if we talk, the power sector is on the transition stage. We are talking of the energy transition, shifting from fossil fuel to non-fossil fuel. The Honorable Prime Minister has given the ambitious target of 500 gigawatt of renewable energy by 2030 and 50% of the total installed capacity by 2030 from the non-fossil fuel sources. Otherwise, also, if we look at the power sector requirement, India is the largest populated country with a very high young population, which has more and more power required.
Yeah.
With the India's growth targets achieving the 5 trillion technology, 5 trillion economy, power sector plays a very significant role. We are planning to double our capacity by 2030 from 400 gigawatt to more than 800 gigawatt, with the associated transmission and strengthening of the distribution. It is expected that all these funding, all these targets up to 2030 will require additional funding of approximately 31 lakh crore exclusively for the power sector. We are also ambitious very ambitious on the energy transition. We are talking of the new technologies, be it offshore wind, be it hydrogen. And we want to be India one to be self-sufficient in the power requirement and also to take care of the, apart from taking care of the future requirement, we want to export also to other neighboring. So power sector in India has a very, very ambitious target, and all of you know that it works as a backbone for the overall economic growth of the country.
Thank you, Parminder ma'am, for sharing in great details about perspective of Power Finance Corporation and the power sector in general. I think we definitely learned some key insights into our vision as a nation, how we are targeting the power sector and becoming a world leader in this particular space. One question, that our viewers definitely would want to learn is, PFC is under the NBFC category, and an NBFC would essentially do due diligence, will pick up entities and will fund them, right? For PFC, how is the business model? If you could explain the concept wise, both on the lending side for the power and also on the infrastructure lending, which PFC has recently started.
On the power sector, I think being part of the all the initiatives of Ministry of Power, we have in-depth knowledge in the power sector. So if you talk of, we are partnering with Government of India in its various initiatives, be it the recent revamped scheme and the LPS scheme. In the past also, we have partnered with Government of India under the UDAY IPTS scheme to improve the overall viability of the sector. So we have been appraising the projects, the infrastructure funding, if you say, that requires a specialized view. You know that there is a requirement, sector is under pressure from all sources, but you have to see that what the potential is available for the sector.
Right.
So we are working as the we are working on the financials and weak points on the state electricity boards or the state power utilities. While funding, we put certain conditions to improve the overall trajectory of the state utilities, so that their AT&C losses are reduced, or if there is some gaps in the cost and the revenue model, they are plugged into. So once we do the infrastructure funding, we have to give them the long-term funding. But on the other hand, being an NBFC, we have to see what are the risk mitigants for the company also. For that, we take charge on the assets of the company, and in some cases, we also do take the state government guarantees. And as a result of our due appraisal, I can say that PFC has an outstanding book of 82% of the total loan book from the state sector, and we did not have any NPAs in that part of the book. For the private sector, no, none of the NPAs are there in the state sector, as against the general perception that the states are really under pressure. So this much I can share with you.
That's a phenomenal performance. For our viewers today, PFC has got a very robust evaluation mechanism of what state power generation entities to be funded, right? On the infrastructure side, and it is also a secured lending, right? The whole infrastructure is basically collateralized. At the same time, there's a state guarantee which comes in. These are the modes that we understand from Shrimati Parminder ji, that this is a securitization, a very R&tied securitization mechanism which is put into place, make it a very, very secured sort of a lending structure. And NPA of 1.07% is a phenomenal figure with respect to an NBFC operations. So one natural question which comes up is, can you share some light on the number of power projects that PFC has funded probably in the last year and is looking to fund all the more in this year, in this financial year?
See, during the last year, it's a regular process for us to fund the power sector projects. And in the second half of the financial year, we also got an approval for funding for the infrastructure sector. So if I talk about the major projects which have been funded, that includes metro. For the Mumbai metro, we have sanctioned one of the refinery loans in the Rajasthan. We have also sanctioned few of the ports. Under the power sector, we have been sanctioning loans for distribution capex work, transmission line works. We have also sanctioned in the state sector and also in the ITPs, where there is a private bidding for the independent transmission lines. So there also we have done the funding, and if more are to be shared, then if you name, ask me the name.
No,
we have.
Yeah, I mean, just a maybe just a perspective on scaling up. How are you looking at scaling up the lending further in the country, right? So that more power generating institutions get funded, and more power gets generated and reaches to the last mile of the country, right?
So I can share with you that last year we have sanctioned more than 2 lakh crore of projects for the power and the infrastructure sector, of which only 16,000 crore was for the infrastructure sector, rest of it for the power sector.
Understood. There was a very interesting point which you mentioned about renewable energy, solar, wind, and other non-fossil energy sources. We would want to understand slightly deeper what is PFC's thesis around this renewable energy space. How are we looking at the transformative technologies in this space, and how are you betting on this? You mentioned that there is certain amount of investments which PFC is doing. If you could share some more details on this, because probably this is the direction in which the next generation is headed towards, and clean energy is the only way to leave back a better planet for mankind. So if you could kindly share your thesis on renewable energy, it'll be a great learning for all of us.
Yeah, if you see the renewable energy, that is altogether a different ball game as compared to the thermal. In the thermal or the traditional energy, be it hydro, be it thermal, what has happened that the projects have a longer gestation period, so there could be some cost overruns in it, and there is a requirement of, in case of thermal, there is a fuel supply agreements which is required, then that has to be transported from one end of the country to the another end of the country. As against that, renewable, there is no fuel requirement, natural sunlight or the wind is wherever. There are pockets where there is ample in space where we can achieve the efficiencies. Apart from that, there is a very small gestation period which we have not seen in other conventional part of the generations. So if we clear that the renewable energy gestation period is 18 months to 24 months. So under that, the project is coming up. So you need to change the pace at which you are sanctioning the production works has to be taken up, and the government with the help of SECI is awarding number of projects under the renewable. We have seen, and we have also seen the tariff rates reducing to the lowest of even lower than the 2 rupees, which we have seen in the past. So there is a lot of focus of the government for the renewable projects, and now the government is also focusing on having the Make in India concept for the panels or the wind machines which are required for the solar as well as the wind projects. So lot of equipment manufacturing is coming up in the country, which will help to avoid supply chain issues which we have seen in the recent past. Now we are talking of the energy transition. Energy transition means more and more renewable, and under renewable, again, the associated concerns are being addressed. One is the grid stability. Renewable project power is not you can say a reliable source. Weather conditions are there, it's available only in the daytime. So it requires grid stability. So storage is being thought of, which includes battery storage or the pump storage. Government is in the process of allocating number of pump storage projects. We are looking at the alternative sources for the hydrogen and to ammonia. We are talking of green ammonia, green hydrogen, which can be used as a fuel for number of big industries like steel and fertilizer. So the government, recently you have seen that the government has come out with the hydrogen policy also. So government is, and the PLI scheme again. So government is giving a big push to all the energy transition required for the country. And I think that going forward by 2030, and we will see a new India with a clean energy. And in any case, 2070, we are talking of net zero targets. So all these are initial steps towards the bigger goal.
Got it. Yeah. I think, with government's key focus on shifting out from fuel-based energy to these renewable energy, and with PFC's right set of funding to the right set of projects, we have a bright alternate energy future for our country ahead. So my next question to you would be, I think 2023-24, our honorable government has set a target of, I think, 1,750 billion units of power, which would be required by the country. And in the last fiscal, we did an actual generation of around 1,624 billion units. So just around 7.6%, jump that would be necessary to meet this year's requirement. Like, how do you perceive the power generation companies to be able to meet these targets, or would they surpass this target? What is your perspective, being the the industry leader over here, giving the industry the right direction?
We have successfully met the peak load requirement. There was some shortage, as you said, during the previous year, but this year, I think weather is also with us, and otherwise also we have in April the peak load. So we are successfully able to meet. So there were certain issues with respect to the coal supply for the thermal power projects, but I think that the issues have been dealt it effectively with the help of Ministry of Power and Ministry of Coal, and we are not seeing any sort of shortage in the coal supply. And accordingly, we expect that we will not be seeing any type of shortage to meet the peak power requirement in the country.
Got it. So you mentioned about certain overseas collaboration and overseas funding also being a government entity, right? If you could share some light with our viewers today, like what is overseas collaboration or funding that we're looking as a structure to boost the capital required for power generation in our country?
As on date, we have approximately, our loan book is 3 lakh, borrowing is 3,60,000, of which approximately 20% is from the foreign sources. So we wanted to diversify ourselves from the domestic to the foreign currency market, and as a result, we have successfully raised a number of through bonds as well as from the syndicated loan, and as a result, our outstanding in the foreign currency is 7.8 billion as of today. In the foreign currency market, we have tapped for the normal bonds as well as for the green bonds. Green bonds we have done in dollar, we have done in euro, the green bonds to tap particular investors, and last year also we have raised funds for non-thermal purposes, and it was around 850 million in equivalent dollar in yen. So we have been taking from time to time issues in the foreign market and raising funds from the foreign market for different purposes. One, to have diversification, and second, to have the optimum mix of sources and to optimize our cost of borrowing. To take care with the foreign currency borrowing, next question definitely comes about the risk involved in the volatility in the foreign currency. So for that purpose, we have been taking the mitigations and taking from time to time, taking the call and doing the hedging wherever required. And I would be happy to share that the dollar requirement, dollar maturities, if you see falling within the next 4 to 5 years, have almost 100% hedged for years. So we are not looking at any sort of risk in terms of going forward in the near future.
Thank you for sharing that. So now, if you could kindly, speak about the financials of PFC for the past 2 years, the revenue and the PAT figures. You have called out the NPA, which is 1.07%, a phenomenal NPA rate, right, for an NBFC. So if you could hash out the revenue for the past 2 financial years and the PAT, it will be good to know about that for the viewers.
So the revenue, if we talk in FY22, we have 36,700 crore, whereas in case of FY23, it has marginally been increased to 37,645 crore. You know that we have a muted growth during the FY22, which has we ended up having almost flat revenue. However, in terms of profit, our profit has increased from 10,000 to 11,600, registering a growth of 16%. Our loan book during the period has increased by 13% during the period, and we are able to maintain the spread between 2.5 to 2.75, which was the guidance given by the management at any point of time. We are able to maintain within that range. So with respect to the capital adequacy and NPA, which is for any of the financial sector company, is I think of utmost importance, and I'm happy to share that we have a very comfortable capital adequacy of more than 24%, to having sufficient cushion of any eventuality also. And our NPA, as you rightly said, we have registered one of the lowest NPAs at 1.6%, with a provisioning coverage of approximately 70%.
Thank you for sharing the details. Tremendous performance with respect to the financials as an NBFC. Definitely deep learnings for, I think, any business organizations to learn from you, how to actually maintain these significant growth by executing the right levers of business and due diligence. Now let's talk about, as an ending part, about the issuance that is due for 21st July, Friday, right? Our viewers would be very eager to know about it. For the information of our viewers, so PFC is launching its public issuance of debentures on 21st of July, coming Friday. Retail can participate with as low as 10,000 ticket size through online journey via UPI or through online offline applications. The total amount of funds, the credit rating, and the overall structure, if you could kindly share with our viewers, that will be of immense value and information for them, for their investments.
So, as you have rightly briefed about that, PFC is going to launch their taxable public issue of bonds from 21st of July. So I would like to share the highlights of the same. As I already informed, that Power Finance Corporation is a Government of India owned company. So I think this is the issue, the only issue as of now of any government owned company in the market. The issue has been rated by all the three major agencies, CRISIL, ICRA and CARE, and has been given the highest safety rating of AAA stable by all the three companies. These are the secured, listed, rated, redeemable, non-convertible debentures. The base issue size is rupees 500 crore with the option to retain oversubscription up to 4,500 crore. The face value of the bond is 1,000 rupees, keeping in view the specific requirement of the retail, and the minimum investment is also kept only at rupees 10,000 and further in multiple of 1,000. This has three tenors, three options: 3 years, 10 years and 15 years. 3 years for the HNI and the retail, which is the category 3 and 4, will carry a coupon of 7.50. 10-year coupon is at 7.53 and 15-year coupon is at 7.5%. All the coupons are payable on annual basis. We are looking for the allocation up to 80% under the HNI and the retail category, and 20% is kept for institutional and non-institutional investor, that is the corporate, where there is a slightly lesser coupon. Under 3 years, it's at 7.45, 10 years 7.47, and 15 year at 7.50%. So these are compulsorily in line with the SEBI guidelines. These are only available in the demat form and stock exchange.
Yeah, it will be listed on the Bombay Stock Exchange.
It will be listed on the Bombay Stock Exchange, and the owners of the issue are Trust, SMC, Nuvama, AK Capital, and JM Financials. And I think what else to share about the issue we are looking.
So I would just want to add that the allotment is on a first come first basis. So we are expecting a tremendous response to come from such a premier institution. We have not seen issues in a long time. So we are seeing a good vibrations in the market and we are getting good feedback. So we are expecting it to fill up pretty fast. In fact, day one we will see a bumper opening, and the closing date for the issue is 28th of July. But the company, if it garners the required, it has an option for an early closure once the requisite amount is mobilized at an early date, provided they give a 1 day notice.
Understood. Yeah.
We request all investors not to wait till the last moment and act fast and try to do as much as possible on day one.
Right.
Yeah. Given that PFC is the largest NBFC under the governance of central government, all AAA rated, right? CRISIL, CARE, ICRA, stable rating. This is probably the best rating that is possible, right? And the largest profitable NBFC. I think there cannot be any second thought to it. So it, and the investment opportunity starts at 10,000, and retail can participate up retail and HNI can participate up to 80%. That means, a large volume of retail participation is possible. But as Pranav, being one of the lead managers from Trust mentioned, right, it wouldn't make sense to wait till the last day because it's going to fill up pretty fast. So thank you so much for sharing the deep insights. I'm sure our participants today definitely had a very enriching session. I'll just request for a couple of minutes more to take up some questions, some key questions that the participants have asked, and after that we will close it.
Okay.
So one question which has come up is actually quite a few, that can NRIs actually are looking forward to this issue. Now, a lot of them have put in the question, can NRIs invest in this? And if not, why is RBI not allowing us to invest?
Is this the question for RBI or for the company?
It's a very difficult one, but it has been mentioned many times because NRIs are looking forward to participate. So are they allowed? If I ask Pranav, as from the viewers.
So Abhijit, this debate is going on for quite some time. As such, NRIs who have their ordinary accounts in India, which is called an NRO account, can technically invest in bonds, especially bonds issued by government entities, etc. But they need prior approval from RBI because they might have to go and disclose the end use of the fund, or where has the fund come from, etc. So it is better to take advice from your chartered accountant and then go ahead with your investments.
Got it. Yeah. To the NRI investors, right, who are looking forward to this issue, you have to consult with your chartered accountant and you have to discuss with RBI, right, on your investments before going ahead. Yeah. The next question is, how long, in number of years, would a project funding be done from PFC? What will be the typical tenure of the project funding? This is from Mr. Kunj Nalka.
See, being a power sector and being a developmental institution, we do fund for the longer tenure, but it all depends on the revenue stream of the company. And as per RBI guidelines, we can fund up to 80% of the economic life of the project. And on the basis of merits of the case, we are considering.
Got it.
I think, Abhijit, we'll have time for 2 questions.
Yeah. I think rather I will just answer one question myself. This is from Mr. Deepak Mulchandani. Is it tax-free? No. This is a taxable, redeemable, compulsorily non-convertible debenture, and it is listed on the exchange. Right. So the taxation will be as per your tax slab for the interest income, and if you sell it in the secondary market and get capital gains, you will be taxed as per your capital gains taxation. Last question. So some of the individuals over here, the first one to ask is Mr. Jatin Khatri, and the question is, it's more philosophical in nature. It's, what is the future of nuclear power in India? What would be your perspective on that?
Lot of work is going on the technology for the nuclear power also. And I see, as far as I think that once initial work is done and it is proven to be a bit safer, then it's definitely have a brighter future in overall power sector.
Understood. So thank you so much, Parminder ji, for sharing the deep insights with our viewers today. We definitely learned a lot. And for our viewers, Power Finance Corporation issuance opens on 21st July, coming Friday, right? It's a big issuance, great opportunity for retail investors, right? Go through the prospectus and details, right? And you can invest via an online route through UPI, or you can invest via offline applications, right? So yeah, all the best to PFC, and thank you so much for sharing your valuable time with us and sharing the deep insights on the power future of our country. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Abhijit, and don't wait for the last moment.
Certainly.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Investments in debt securities are subject to risks. Read all the offer-related documents carefully.